This is a show for grown-ups.
And they say bad words.
And they say bad words.
Say final warning.
Final warning.
Hello and welcome to Pod of Blunders. This is our actual play podcast, and we're doing a little change up this time. We're switching from D&D to some indie games. We're going to be reviewing the game Sonja and Conan versus the Ninjas by Guillaume Jentey. And I fucking nailed that name. I don't want to have any calls from France or Canada saying how bad I suck. So boom, take that. I am your DM, Nate, and with me today is Ryan Bolger, Richard Sullivan, and my lovely wife, Jenna Peterson-Magnuski.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
All right, and so recently I had asked Twitter to give me some recommendations of indie games that were $5 or less, because we have a thing on the blog where we take a small, inexpensive indie game and we review it in a couple hundred words. Boy, howdy, do they respond in spades. They got so many recommendations. I have a master list on our site, which of course is podofblunders.wordpress.com. And one of the most frequently suggested games was this, the Sonja and Conan versus the Ninjas. So I figured, what the hell? We would give it a playthrough today, and we're all brand new at this game. We're still learning the rules. So bear with us. So let's get this started. We have... Who's going to be our barbarian tonight?
I've already called barbarian.
Okay, so tell us about your barbarian.
I am Thugrem, the barbarian.
Thugrem.
7 foot tall, wielding dual great axes, covered in white fur, and capped off with a giant ape skull as my helmet.
Like all over?
All over. It's cold.
I mean, maybe.
Man's got to do something to keep himself warm.
Warm.
All right, so if you are Thugrem the barbarian, and that leaves Ryan, Jenna, and myself to be the ninjas. So, reading through the rules, the setup here, 3 ninjas. I'll take Ninja 1. Ryan, you'll take Ninja 2. And Jenna, you'll be Ninja 3. Is that cool?
Yeah, works for me.
All right, so Ninja 1. Well, first and foremost, we should all have some index cards in front of us or something to make some notes. Because we're going to have certain powers. We're going to have cards that let us introduce scenes into the game, that sort of stuff. Does everyone have something to write with or something to write on in front of them?
Yep. Got me some MS Paint.
Whoa, humble brag over here. Nice job. All right, so let's see. Do we want to roll for techniques first, or do we want to come up with our card information, our scene fodder?
Techniques first, for no particular reason.
Techniques first, okay. So, I usually when we run this game, we're supposed to be together, but thanks COVID, we can't be. So what we're doing instead, there are 12 moves for ninjas. So we're all going to roll a d12. I'll let Ryan go first, and then I'll just tell him what power he gets. We're not supposed to know this, but hey, this is the new normal, goddammit.
I rolled a 5.
So your power is poison.
I'm a snake.
All right, Jenna, go ahead and roll a d12, or just flub it and tell me a number between 1 and 12. Actually, do that twice, I think, right?
Wait, what do you call... Are you trying to call me out here? What?
I fancy Google command to make it roll for me. So whatever. I got a 6.
You get 2 techniques. 6?
Yes.
Feel attacked.
Your move. The first one is sacrifice.
All right, and my second one is fucking another 6. Hold on.
No, it's not. All right, so your 12 is the Council of Masters. And my number is, and I'm going to roll it on my desk with my metal dice, so all y'all at home know I'm not flubbing like certain people. An 11. Provocation.
Hey, your app sounds so realistic.
I'm going to stab you.
Listen, you could be rolling and just saying a completely different number. So whether they hear it or not, you could still flub.
That sounded like an 11. I think you can tell. I could tell. Maybe it's just my bat-like hearing. So everyone should write down what they got on one of their pieces of paper, or 2 in Jenna's cool case.
I'm just cutting it out.
I didn't know it was arts and crafts time.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm bringing my feminine energy up in here. Everything's a Pinterest.
Just going
all right.
Your role-playing scrapbook.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the times we had
her memory wall.
That's all part of her dream journal. So, Ninja 2, Ryan, you're going to come up with a character card. So on one of your cards, you're going to write the name of a big bad that Thugrem?
Thugrem.
Yes, I nailed it. Thugrem. And between this and Guillaume Jentey, I'm nailing the names today. You got to come up with a big bad, Ryan, that will fight or show up at some point in the game. All right.
Oh yeah.
Jenna, you have the luxury of writing down the location. So some cool location, some weird place that we can all tell a story in and make the barbarian fight in. I will be coming up with a plot card and an object card. I have my 2 cards written down. And what we have, how many more cards do we each have?
I have 1 blank card. Ryan has 2 blank cards, and Nate has 1 blank card.
1 blank card. And once we're out of blank cards, the game ends. There's no way to get new blank cards as far as I know.
Well, with some of the powers, like if you turn it over, it becomes a new blank card.
Nope, impossible.
That's literally what it says.
Let's just agree to disagree.
On the rules of Guillaume's beautiful game, absolutely not.
Well, that pronunciation was whack. It's Guillaume.
Say again?
Guillaume.
Guillaume.
No, you're just making a mockery of it, and I don't appreciate this. I'm sorry you had to hear that, Ryan.
Huh?
So now we have to determine what kind of ninjas we want to be. And we can be literal ninjas, or we can be just some kind of generic mook.
I kind of want to be a Rita Repulsa putty.
You just want to make the noise.
I actually don't remember the noise.
What noise, Nathan?
Boo! Boo!
You sound crazy.
Your childhood was a sham. All right, Ryan, what kind of ninja do you think we should be?
Maybe like a biker gang ninja style. Who knows?
I like that.
Biker ninjas. Cool.
Biker ninjas. What if we combine those two and we kind of do like more of like an atomic, like post-apocalypse style game? We have like radioactive sludge biker ninjas.
Can they still make the noise?
Richard, I insist they make the noise.
I need the example again.
Oh, naturally. Boo! Boo! I might be misremembering this whole thing.
No, you're right.
Okay, thank God. I'm actually going to start with not an action scene. I'm going to start with an exposition scene. It's going to narrate something far away that Richard isn't aware of yet. So I want you to picture on the distant horizon a fort made of rusted black metal. It's like sucking in the light from the crazy tie-dye horror show that is the sunset with so much pollution in the air. The land around it is just scrubland, blasted from radiation. Barely anything grows, and what does grow here grows wrong. The animals have too many limbs and too few eyes. The plants are a color that you can't describe. We zoom into this, we get closer as we go down this broken highway towards the main gate. We go through, and we see a man, if you can call this a man, standing in a robe made of skin and feathers and bits of scrap that he could find. He turns around, his face is gaunt, like a skeleton with the skin barely covering his bones, and he's laughing. And he looks over, and there's a coffin sitting on a large table, surrounded by black candles. He's chanting and giggling at the same time. He can barely contain himself. He goes, "At last, I have it. Thugrem's mother's skeleton. And when my plan comes to fruition, she will rise from her grave and become my bride."
I like the very thorough telling of exactly what his plan is.
Well, he's a bad guy. He has to explain his evil plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. I appreciate that it's like right in the front.
And so, of course, this is the wasteland fort of Kaurthek the Naughty, necromancer, and lord of these lands. All around the fort is the thundering sound of motorcycles. We zoom back out and we see a veritable army of these glowing and twisted mutants riding these souped-up hogs, whipping themselves with chains in a bloody fever and fervor.
I got chills.
Right? So now, who wants to narrate the next scene? Do you want like an action scene to get Thugrem involved, or should you just keep doing exposition scenes and you can just sit on the sidelines?
I mean, we've obviously got the bad guy right out there. I feel like we have to get Thugrem right out there.
We've got a bad guy.
Well, but he's surrounded by putties on hogs.
And just to be clear, hogs are motorcycles in this. I'm using the cool parlance.
I literally just wrote down surrounded by putties on hogs, and I don't think I've written a cooler sentence.
They say the most beautiful sentence or combination of words in the English language is cellar door. But of course, we all know it's really putties on hogs. Or radioactive mutant putties on hogs, defending the black metal fort of Kaurthek the Naughty.
It's going to cut away to Thugrem, and he is on the third moon of Nephalkor. He is running away while being pursued by giant crab people.
Do you think he'd be running? Do you think he'd be like driving on something?
No, he's running with his powerful, thick thighs.
Oh, they say
Chafing
lies.
with his corduroy.
I thought he was wearing white fur.
What's under the white fur? You don't know.
The most sensuous of boxer shorts, corduroy.
Now all I'm imagining is that as he's running, it's like.
I can't wait for like a stealth scene to come up later on, and you're like, zzz, zzz, zzz.
So now do I describe? I use one of my my barbarian actions?
Yeah, the many crab people are chasing you down the street, or across the moon landscape, and you're running.
As I'm running away from this crab, I will use my barbarian action to run away from this crab as fast as possible. I can see the planet, which contains
Zablon 4.
Well, it occurs to me that I didn't name the moon Nefilkor. I said that it was the third moon of Nefilkor, so I think the name of the planet is Nefilkor.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Zablon, but go ahead anyway.
No, it's in the Zablon system.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. So I will use my barbarian action to run away from this crab. In the distance of this moon, I can see the atmosphere getting thinner above Nefilkor. From this small moon, I will jump with no fear of danger, all the way breaking through the atmosphere like a comet, landing in the center of the worst spot I could have landed, right in front of this biker bar. And of course, like any good barbarian, I land with the superhero pose.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to say that the crabs are reared up on their back little legs and snapping their pinchers in the air in frustration.
Perfect. All right. So that concludes the scene. Brian, why don't you take over and do an action scene, taking over from this or introducing something else?
That's right. I had 2 blanks. Be whatever I want. So you just landed in front of the biker gang, huh?
In front of the gang or in front of Kaurthek the Naughty directly?
No, it was in front of a biker bar, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I assume where the gang was hanging out.
Yeah. Like a roadhouse.
Where?
Roadhouse.
So Kaurthek the Naughty is headquartered in a roadhouse?
No, he's got a fort, and in front of it is a roadhouse.
And inside the roadhouse is the character I'm going to introduce. Played by the none other than Nathan Manuski. The second in command, the right hand of, oh jeez, I already forget his name.
Kaurthek the Naughty.
Kaurthek the Naughty.
Kaurthek the Naughty. Shelita Buffet.
Oh, God. All right, so Shelita Buffet is a very voluptuous drag queen. She is
Fabulous.
just gorgeous. She knows she looks good. She's got extreme eye makeup on, more blush than anyone should have. She's got stilettos, but she's walking over the planet's surface with it, sinking into the sand, but she doesn't mind. She's graceful. She's wearing so much sequins. It's kind of like a ripoff of that Tina Turner outfit from Thunderdome with the earrings and the awesome hair. And she steps out through like the saloon-style doors. And she looks over. She goes, "Honey, you took the wrong place to land. Get 'em, boys." And so at that, the putties drive forward, swinging these chains. Richard, what do you do?
I will terrify the strong, captivate the weak, and sexually attract both. I use my animal sexual magnetism to attract Shelita Buffet. Why fight when we can make passionate love, Shelita? I've traveled all the way from the third moon of Zebulon 4 to arrive here. I would love a drink at your bar and a nestle on your breast.
First of all, honey, I think this planet's called Nefilkor.
What'd I say?
I think you might have overshot a little bit. I think you're only hot because you burned up on re-entry. I want to start a dialogue scene between Shelita and Thugrem.
Thugrem has to roll a d6 to see how long his sentences are allowed to be.
Let's see. 2.
So your sentences are 2 words apiece. How many sentences do you get before you have to make a move?
3.
So if you have 3 2-word sentences, you can say, "You know that there's a price on your head. You know Kaurthek the Naughty is looking for you. And I'm sure you know, too, that he has your mother's corpse. And he's planning on resurrecting her to become his bride."
My mom?
That's right, sugar. He's got your mama, and he's gonna be your daddy soon because there ain't no one who can stand up to Kaurthek the Naughty when he wants to get his way. Not even me. And you know I'm strong. Girl power.
No way.
But let's forget about that. I know we're star-crossed lovers and we can't have anything that's meant to last. But for one passionate and beautiful night, I'm gonna make a man out of you.
Do me.
To me.
And Richard, I'm gonna use actually no, I'm not gonna do that. Go ahead.
I want to do something. Can I poison him? Can I use my action to poison him now?
Yeah! I think I got the poison lipstick, right?
It's so the poison, if I read the card correctly, allows me to pretty much look at his hand of abilities and then make him check one off, and for him to use it again he has to uncheck it. So I'm pretty sure like it's like I'm putting it on a cooldown so he can't use it unless he...
Yep. So far, Ryan, Richard's used Terrify the Strong, Captivate the Weak, and Sexually Attract both, and Run, Jump, Climb, and Fall with no fear of danger.
I'm going to knock out his terror powerful enemy limb from limb to make them regret being born, and preventing him the ability to do this against my lovely Shelita Buffet.
Well, how do you do that?
Okay, all right, yeah. So she does use poison lipstick. Wink, wink, Nate. Well, thought of.
Excellent.
She goes in for a nice little smooch, poison lipstick, and you go, and now your ability is on cooldown, I guess you would say.
Do we want to say he like passes out?
He's weaker. You know, I'll let him stay conscious, but he's, visibly weakened.
Ooh, all right. Does the dialogue... I think it lets you use one move now, Richard.
Yeah, he can either do a barbarian move or an inglorious move. And an inglorious move would uncheck something for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be available again.
I will use an inglorious action.
Okay.
So I have to roll.
Yep.
5.
All right, so you can describe your action in 5 words.
Finger in throat, vomit, poison.
Okay. All right. So we get to take over the scene at this point and finish it out. Ryan, do you want to take care of how he does
Well, hold on.
this?
Before you do that, I got to get rid of an inglorious.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually get
Gotcha.
my powerful enemy limb from rim back. Go ahead, Ryan.
So I would just say that the start of it is she goes in for the quick smooch. You get poisoned, and I'm assuming that you're now jamming your fingers down your throat.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be more appropriate to be wiping his lips because that's where it came from versus making himself puke?
Not the way Shelita kisses.
But
It's a French kiss from a French author.
So I think that you pull back, realize you've been poisoned. You throw up everywhere, and Shelita gets mad. She rips off her hoop earrings and says, "Ain't no one to reject the kisses and advances of Shelita Buffet and live to tell the tale. Get him!" And then you have the chain wielding mutants right on their hogs coming at you.
Perfect.
So you see 6 of these like hulking, almost as tall as you, creatures riding these ridiculous, weird motorcycles. You even got like the little guy on the side with like a cannon in one of them and like the sidecar. You got the people wearing like patchwork leather armor. Some of them still have the faces of their victims showing through the armor. And you see in the distance, the gate to the keep has opened. You see Kaurthek standing there in the gate and he's laughing and he's like, "Come, boy, meet your doom and say hi to your new daddy." And he walks back through the gate and shuts it. But it's a crack open. It hasn't shut all the way. It's stuck on a rock. But you don't have time to think about that too much because right now you are being charged by some very aggressive super mutants.
I am going to mow down a horde of henchmen without even breaking a sweat. I pull my 2 great axes, spin them in the air as they drive toward me on their bicycles.
Wait, they're bicycles?
Yeah, they go.
now I'm envisioning like kicking at the kickstand, but instead of it being like a gigantic motorcycle, it's like a real thin metal one.
Yeah.
They like bicycle built for 2. They have like cards in the spokes to make that sound.
No, they're e-bikes.
Oh no.
Listen, they're very environmentally friendly.
The plan is bad enough. We need to do our part too.
I throw my axe and I cut off all their heads in one single line.
So your axe spins out from your grip, It flies through the air, and as it saws through each and every single one of them, even the one in the sidecar somehow, it kind of does a little detour for a second. You hear the last one. It goes, "Why do we ride in the line?" Right before the axe sends him to meet his maker.
Review: Shelita's roadhouse is now covered with vomit and brain blood everywhere.
Yeah. And of course, you turn around and Shelita's gone.
Right.
So who wants to do the next scene? And what kind of scene do you want?
Okay,
Right,
so
like-
I want to do an exposition scene in which we see a close-up on the coffin and the hand sticks out of the edge of it and starts to push it aside. And Kaurthek the Naughty is giggling, but he doesn't know what coffin he dug up, and now he's about to get it from both sides.
I'm going to introduce an object to this, I think. I have one of my cards was an object card. So, Thugrem, you need to get this taste of vomit and smooch off your lips. And you need to wash some of the guts off of your body. And your pristine white fur leotard or whatever the hell you're wearing. And your corduroy breeches. So you walk into the saloon and you see that it's... you zip on in, zip, zip, zip. Right in. The saloon is great. It's a riot of neon. There's weird industrial metal playing in the jukebox. A very scared-looking robot butler holding a tray of drinks. And he says, "Sir, please don't kill me. I'll get you a drink, and perhaps something else might be interesting to you." And he kind of gestures with his head over the bar. And there you see it on a plaque. The namesake of this bar. It's a super soaker with one of those backpacks.
Mega Drench.
Yeah, that's the name. That's the fucking sweet name for this bar. Now it all makes sense why this bar is called the Super Soaker with a Mega Drench backpack. I shouldn't tell you this, as I'm just a lowly bartender robot, and I think my accent's already changed more foppish than British. But what can you do? This is Kaurthek's only weakness. This specific Super Soaker with the Mega Drench backpack. I'm not sure why it's not under more careful guard, but there you have it. What do you do?
I will use an inglorious action.
Okay.
5. Steel Super Soaker Backpack.
Backpack, I think, is one word. I think you got another one you can throw in there.
Quickly.
Okay, so the robot bartender ducks down under the bar to get you something. He goes, "Oh, my back is turned. I hope no one takes advantage of my carelessness." And you hop over, grab the backpack, throw it on, and you leave the way you came, marching with purpose towards the twisted metal keep of Kaurthek the Naughty, Necromancer.
So as Kaurthek is marching toward the gate to the keep, I am the poor lowly ninja that has to try to get this rock out of the way so that the door can close. As he approaches, and I realize that he already has the backpack, and I know that I can't stop him and what this means for me, I'm going to use my sacrifice. And I am going to take out my... I'm trying to think of like a bikery sort of weapon to have.
A sock full of pennies.
Ooh, yeah, or like sweet Valencia oranges.
No, I'm gonna put my brass knuckle on, and staring at him as he approaches, I'm going to punch myself with a brass knuckle until I die.
This is for you, Kaurthek.
And that gives Nate and Ryan each an extra blank card.
You punch yourself to death to free the rock?
No, because I know that I can't possibly beat Thugrem. And even if somehow I managed to, it would be because I ran. And instead, Kaurthek the Naughty would kill me. So I choose to die on my own terms. By punching myself repeatedly in the face with a brass knuckle.
I want to use my ninja move on top of that one. I'm going to use provocation, which I'm going to force Thugrem to use a move that he already has checked off. And the move that I'm going to use right now, of course, is terrify the strong, captivate the weak, and sexually attract both. So you see this man punching himself to death to escape you. What do?
Please, biker man, stop punching yourself with brass knuckles. Why don't instead you open that gate for me?
The gate's already open. That was the whole point. I couldn't close the gate.
Then continue punching yourself with brass knuckles.
Okay.
I gotta remind you that this guy is totally sexually attracted to him now.
I mean, obviously, yeah, he got too close. I saw the corduroy breeches. It was a lot. Okay.
Well, so how does that color the scene?
She beats off, but forgets that he's wearing his brass knuckles and tears his foreskin completely off.
And he bleeds out. From his dick wound. Oh, God. So he beats off to death. That's great. So, Ryan, do you want to jump in with the scene, or do you want me to take over? What's up?
You get through the gate, and on the other side of the gate is Shelita Buffet with a few other goons dragging a coffin to what appears to be an escape motorcycle pod thing.
Yes.
It's an escape sidecar.
Yeah.
Just detaches and then shoots off into space.
Exactly.
Right to one of the many moons.
The crabs are like, yes! Clack, 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 clack.
I imagine this moon's like wicked close, like it scrapes the top of tall buildings as it goes by.
That escape pod looks mighty important. I will use my barbarian action to destroy the pod before it can take off. I need to know what's in that coffin. It cannot leave this planet.
So is that breaking something important or whatever the name of that move is?
Destroying something important. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so go ahead and describe how you destroy it. Cinematically.
Sensually.
Brass knuckle beat off. It's my new punk album, by the way. It drops on May.
As it's about to take off, I jump on it, hugging it with all my might, and the weight of my 400-pound frame drags it down. It can't possibly make the trip into space. I go up about 100 feet and then drop down, and it smashes into a million pieces in a crater.
On Shelita Buffet?
Right on her.
All right, so Ryan, do you want to finish out the narration for this scene?
So Shelita's still alive, okay? You ain't killing my Shelita. She throws the object off of her, and she says, "You will not get away with that coffin." And they all get up to surround you.
Okay, so as they're all kind of prepping for the fight, they're all like, snapping like sharks and jets. As they're all kind of preparing to fight and they're snapping like the sharks and the jets, they're getting ready for like a real 50s smackdown. Out of the shadows steps Thugrem's mother with like half of a face, but full of heart. And she is enraged that they would endanger Thugrem this way. And she's going to help fight the fight.
So what does she look like? How tall is she? What is she wearing? How's she built?
Well, I mean, obviously, she is 7.5 feet. She's taller than Thugrem, but slighter because she's a lady.
Wow.
Because obviously, in these movies, you have to still have a petite frame while also being ready to fuck shit up. So, she's more toned than built.
Like more of a Pilates body than like a weightlifter?
Yeah. But she'll
I'm
fuck
into
you up. She's mad. She takes the coffin, smashes it into pieces on the ground, and picks up one of the boards as a weapon with its like jaggedy edge.
I'm going to step in at this point. I think there's a balcony above the courtyard. I think Kaurthek kicks it open and steps out and starts just like hammering down at both of you with these horrible green and black energy beams. And he's like, "If I can't have her, no one will." Blah. Evil laugh. Blah. Zap, zap, zap. And like big gouts of earth are just exploding all around your feet. He's just enraged, and the Beastmen are empowered by his anger, and Shelita looks pissed, and they're all rushing at you. What do you do?
Ryan, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to tear a powerful enemy limb from limb to make them regret being born. That means Ma and me. We grab old Shelita Buffet by the arms and by the legs, and we tear her in twain.
No!
Blood and guts spill everywhere, and all the hordes and the beast creatures running toward us are slipping on the blood, and we use that to get ready, and I pull out my dual axes, I hand her the other one, and we're about ready to go to town on this horde.
So I think Kaurthek now knows he's outmatched, and he's like, "You may have won the battle here, but you will never defeat me. I'm going to hide in my hell dimension. Blah, and you'll never get there." And he runs further into the keep. You see the doors cracked open, or you can get up on the balcony fairly easily if you want to climb with your mighty thews.
I have one blank card and I have a move left. So I'm going to do this is weird as an exposition scene, but after Thugrem and his mother take out all of the putties that are kind of covering as Kaurthek the Naughty runs, they stop, and she turns to look at him as he is facing away from her, and she realizes the Mega Drench backpack got fractured in the fight and is empty. And that is my Council of Masters destroying an adventure card.
Oh no, the Mega Drench.
No!
So cross out that Mega Drench. We can turn them over to write other elements of the same type, so we can add a new object. So maybe the new object is the poisonous lipstick has rolled on the ground, and we see it now, and we know that we can use that against Kaurthek.
Can I add an additional object to that? Because it says other elements with a plural.
Well, you can turn them over to write other elements of the same type. So yes.
I think in the moment of quiet, the eldritch magic that's holding your mother's soul into her corpse starts to fray, and she collapses. You look over at her and you rush over and you grab her, and she's like, "You have to go on to defeat him. You need to undo what he's done and make sure that this threat is ended over this place forever. Take care. I love you." And she dies, and it's very sad, and all her meat just melts away, and then you see her thigh bone. It's a thick and gorgeous ivory thigh bone with a huge hip socket that would make an excellent club. And I think you gain the hip bone of your mother as a giant club you can wield against him. And because you're a smart barbarian, I think you take the poisonous lipstick and you draw all over the big ball part. So now it's a +2 mom thigh club of poison. And also you put it on your lips, just in case. Ryan, do you have any cards left?
Yes. So I still have like a blank. We are trying to kill him, right?
The barbarian?
Yes.
It can end one of 4 ways. So end game is the ninja's evil plan is thwarted for good, or we ran out of adventure cards, or the ninja's evil plot is complete, or the barbarian straight up dies. So we should be trying to kill him. He should be trying to live. And then when we feel we've told a satisfactory story at the end, whether Kaurthek dies or the barbarian dies, then we say, "Okay, you win," or "You lost, fuck you."
Okay. So my action scene that's I would like to kind of introduce is Kaurthek, now afraid of the barbarian and his newfound objects, retreats into this cubby type hole that was off to the side and kind of hidden, and as the door closes, emerges a giant mech. Kind of cathartic. So he's ready to, get into a full-on boss battle now. Got the rockets, chainsaws, flamethrowers, the whole 9.
Yeah.
What do you do, Thugrem?
I knock out a big animal or creature. In this case, your mecha necromancer.
Necromancer, please.
Thank you. Necromancer. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, all right.
So as your necromancer shoots off one of his rockets at me, I take my mother's... Sorry, what?
Necromancer, excuse me?
Necromancer, please. Again.
What'd I say?
You said necromancer. I insist you use the branded terminology.
How come it sounds different when I say it? All right. So as your necromancer fires off one of his rockets, I take my mother's very solid, very sturdy thigh bone and use it as a baseball bat and knock the projectile back toward the
You'll get there, don't worry.
And knock it back toward the necromancer, exploding his head, and gears and smoke and computer chips just fly out.
I want to use an exposition scene. I think as you see the explosions, you turn away from it and start walking out of the fort. As you do.
Can I put on my sunglasses?
You have to, in fact, yes. It's part of the laws.
As he does it like the reverse of the CSI Miami thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you start like just tearing down the walls and support beams around you throughout the palace as you walk out, and you think back as you're doing this to the time your mother like gave you different tests of strength, like wrestling a bear, and then you see yourself like hugging a column and tearing it out, and like throwing a rock as far as you can over a mountain. And then you picture yourself like ripping a big chunk of rock out of the ground and throwing it through the central walkway through the fort, and it knocks out a huge window, and things are collapsing. It's utter destruction all around you as you relive these beautiful memories of your mother teaching you how to be a barbarian, as you completely destroy the man that tried to resurrect her and sully her memory. And I think I'm going to say we are defeated. End game. I think since we said that, the barbarian can end the story with a short epilogue. So, Thugrem, you've defeated Kaurthek. Take it away, baby.
So all the smoke and the dust being kicked around from this giant explosion has really made my throat awful dry. I'm mourning the loss of my mother now for the second time after watching her explode into a pile of guts. After her spirit left her body, I need to deal with it in the way that any responsible adult male would do. I'm going to walk back to the Mega Super Soaker bar. I'm going to meet up with my friend, the butler, and he's going to pour me a nice, cool Budweiser.
I mean, it's the king of beers. What can you do? That game was great. That was I had a ton of fun. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was fun.
I liked it just because I didn't really have to do a whole lot of prepping. I could select from a preset list of actions and be more story driven and not really, care about, oh, am I going to survive this or what are the implications, and just roll with it.
Yeah. I think this is a great game to like introduce the idea of role playing to somebody, because there's no like you might fuck it up. Like you can't. It says right there what you have to do, and as long as the person can kind of think cinematically and think about how they want to tell a story collaboratively, it's great. And you can throw it together in a night with half people not knowing the rules, and that doesn't even matter.
For that to be a good introductory game, though, it would have to be people who, like you said, they think that way already, or they already are storytellers on some level, because if they aren't predisposed to kind of thinking in these big Michael Bay-esque sort of arcs and narrations, it's going to be intimidating to try to create a movie scene.
That's fair.
Unless, it's somebody who is really familiar with the style of movie, and so they can kind of like be like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna pull on, this one thing that I saw on Thunderdome, or I'm gonna pull on such and such story I read. Like if they can, if they have enough of a background in the information.
I think it's pretty clear that the author of this game wears his inspiration very clear in the materials. Anyone that's ever seen an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, just like Jenna said, just do what you've seen on the movie, and you'll be fine.
I think as long as you don't make the new person the barbarian.
Thank you.
I think putting them as a ninja, you're fine. Yeah, Ryan. Like, if you get stuck at some point and you're like, I don't know like what to do with this scene. I know what I kind of want. Someone who's more gregarious or like Ham could step in and help, because that's built into the rules. It's like, hey, feel free if someone asks for help to just step in and be like, oh, this would be fucking dope. Let's do this too. So I don't know. I'm gonna put my foot down on the whole. It's cool for new players.
Yeah, I do like the mixture of, here are some prescribed starting points between both the locations and the plot pieces and what have you, and the moves, because then it's like, well, I don't know what I would do next, but I do know I have this card, so how can I make that card work for this?
Right.
And so it's less intimidating than just having the card, but at the same time, you have a number of blanks so that you don't feel like, well, I guess I'm doing this now. It's got like a good balance of prompts with freedom.
Do you feel like the freedom of this, like how you don't collaborate as ninjas, do you feel like it's fun to have that randomness in there? Or do you think it's kind of like scary and threatening? Like my item that I introduced, the Super Soaker, that really wasn't congruous with what's happening. Does it matter in this kind of game, or is it just a one-shot and it's goofy enough that it doesn't matter?
Well, I think it, as a player, it has to keep you on your toes, because I'm already thinking, all right, I got the Super Soaker, I got that lipstick. I'm thinking, okay, great. I'm going to I'm going to get my mom to seduce him with this ability. I know that I have to do an inglorious action to get that ability back. So I'm trying to think 4 steps ahead. Now all of a sudden something else changes. My mother's now, melted and I have her thigh bone. You have to be, you have to think on your feet with something like that. And that's why it's, kind of cool.
It's a weakness. You think it's one of the strengths of the game?
I do. You don't get locked into, this is how I'm going to play. I've already thought it out.
I did find that because of that, you're kind of sitting there going, okay, here are the cards that I have. What could I possibly do with those cards as like the ninja? And each of us are kind of doing that. So I might come up with something, but then Ryan speaks up before I do, which by the time that it's my turn again, it might be such a totally different situation that, again, I'm going to have to sit there and try to think, okay, what happens now? And it's really co-created instead of mostly shaped by one person.
Who wouldn't pay their good hard-earned money to watch this movie? And I think
Seriously.
that's kind of, I think, the takeaway from this. If I would watch this movie in the theaters or wait till it came out on streaming, then we did a good job. It's definitely memorable. I'm going to be dreaming about this story tonight.
Well, and I was telling Nate, earlier, for people who don't necessarily have the familiarity with the genre, because I haven't really seen a lot of the movies that these kind of reference. I've seen like a couple, but enough to know that I don't know. And so I was trying to relate it to other things that I do know. And the couple things that came to mind were earlier this semester, I had to read Aeneas and the Aeneid as part of a graduate class that I'm in. And it's very much the same sort of like uber masculinity. Look at me. Haha, pound my chest. For somebody who's not familiar with the kind of movies that it's referencing, you can kind of pull out pieces of it to show them what you're going for.
I mean, I just get a very much a Beastmaster or a Dolph Lundgren, Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris vibe out of a game like this.
That's the part of it that I think of where I'm like, okay, like the weird, like, I'm just going to man my way out of this situation mentality that goes into being the barbarian.
Hey, I tried to make love, not war on a few occasions.
I know, Shelita was just like, I know what side of the toast my bread is buttered on or whatever.
So, indie games. This game was $3.
So worth the $3 just from the one game we just played.
Holy shit, yes. And honestly, this game is so cool. There's so many different stories you can tell with it.
Well, I mean, and even like the 4 of us, like, okay, Richard was the barbarian. Okay, now Nate wants to turn to be the barbarian, or what? Like, we could switch and try different roles out.
I mean, honestly, go support this dude. He's awesome. His game fucking rocks. And again, it's $3. Like, what are you gonna do with $3? What could you possibly spend $3 on that's better than this game?
Hats off to Guillaume Jentey.
Nailed it. I'm going to have a review of this written up, one of my 500-word reviews for $5 or less games. I'm blown away by this game, how cool it was. I thought it would be cool, but it impressed me.
And Nate, where can people find this review?
Well, if they close their eyes and think of their happiest memory and then knock that shit off, they can go to potofblunders.wordpress.com. And there they'll find the link to this actual play on Saturday, and they will find a link to the actual blog on one of our 500-word reviews. Again, that's potofblunders.wordpress.com. And as always, if they have any questions, comments, or concerns, they can always find us on Twitter at podofblunders, all one word. And that about does it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening. Join us again next time when we review another indie game or play another game of D&D. I'm having a fucking blast. I hope you guys are too. Take care of yourselves out there, and may all your Ds be 12s.